Well, it's the first week of LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. This is the second day of the week. I'm joined right now by Vulcan after a unfortunate game against CLG. So I know, obviously, a tough loss. You guys had a very big lead early on, and then things just started to slip away. Maybe you can break down what went wrong.
Yeah, I think our mid games, both yesterday and today, were quite bad, and we were a little bit lucky to get away with the win yesterday. But I think it's a good thing that we have a clear weakness that we can focus on for next week's scrims, right? And I think what happened in those mid games is, at least this one, I think we were on very different pages on like what to do in the mid game, and we were not doing like the necessary things to snowball the game, kind of. And then we just opted into fights that were like, I guess, not using the advantage that the way we should have. So then we like opt into a fight where they're low key on even footing, and then we don't play it as well as we should on top of that, so they get a chance to come back. And I think they played well to, like, if we don't play well, then they can come back, right? And but that's kind of on us. But they did good to find a way to come back in.
Well, I know, obviously, a frustrating loss going 1-1 this week, and it sounds like a little dissatisfaction with both these games. A lot of people were placing EG as top 3 in their power rankings, maybe oftentimes 1 and 2. Do you feel like you're still worthy of that placement on the power rankings?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I still think we're a very good team. I think what happened is just quite an easy fix, honestly, because it's not like we don't know what to do. It's just we kind of have different opinions, and then we don't know how to communicate effectively what we want to do as a team. And then, for example, after this review, we were like, well, I was saying to do this in game, and then there's a guy's like, well, I was saying that, so why didn't we just do this? And then instead of like just going through with one idea, we're just not doing anything, right? So I'm not worried at all. As for the power ranking thing, maybe not. I mean, maybe we showed too disgusting of games to be worthy of that spot, but we'll reclaim it very soon, I think.
Who do you think is worthy of being up there so far, based off of what you've seen this weekend, maybe from scrims, etc.?
Probably C9, and I guess FlyQuest with the game they had yesterday. I had TL pretty high up too, and they had a very, very easy, smooth game against them, so it's hard to not put FlyQuest up there too.
All right. How are things coming along? Obviously, I know the weekend was tough, but broadly speaking, how are things going with integrating 2 new players into the roster, getting back into the swing of things, et cetera, et cetera? Is it taking longer than you expected, or are things going very well? I don't know.
I think it's going well. We also have Freeze, who was on other teams with both Someday and FBI for the past 2 years, I believe. So it's like kind of easy to just come together. We have this 3-man of Freeze, Someday FBI, and the 3-man of me, Inspired and JoJo. So it's like we kind of just mesh in, and a lot of us know what the others need or how they are as a person, like the best way to help them fit in the team, right? So I think it's been pretty smooth. But at the same time, we are pretty boosted in mid-game. So maybe it's not going that well. But it's stage games. I feel like our scrims, we're not the most productive, so hopefully we can tackle that going into next week. Because we have like so many good players, I think we've been maybe a bit comfortable with the fact that like, oh, we'll be good later, like it's not urgent. But I think having a sense of urgency in scrims and reviews and an approach to improvement is always very good. So I think a reality check like losing to CLG in a game where we are very, very ahead and in control, this kind of thing we need. So,
What has it been like working with Freeze?
I've been pleasantly surprised. He's very good. He has a lot of clips. He has like a bank of VODs from like different regions where he took notes of like what the VOD highlights or like what the clip highlights. Yeah. So he has like a concept that he wants to teach associated with the VOD, and he has like so many of them every day. He's like showing us a bunch in the mornings, and then that also becomes our goal for the day where we'll try to imitate or like adapt that play to us. So it's been very good. He's very direct with the feedback he gives and stuff like that. So it's going well.
He's got the European directness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We have a few of those now.
You said pleasantly surprised. So you were surprised. You didn't have these expectations for him. He's pleasantly surprised you. That was the word that stood out to me, or the phrase.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general it's just that coaches that work for other teams, you kind of just hear about them from other people, and that's the only way you can form an idea about how they are as a coach. Yeah. And I hadn't really heard much about Freeze. or know him much as a person. So yeah, you kind of never know what to expect when you get a coach because no one knows.
All right. You tweeted this week about the scrim schedule and how it's going to help the league become more competitive. What the fuck is actually going on with the scrim schedule? Are people unhappy about it? What's the deal?
Well, I guess the GMs decided that one of the reasons why NA is behind is because of our practice schedule, thinking that game 4 and 5 we have less focus, so it's harder to make the game productive, and then we kind of end up wasting our time. Fair enough. So we're trying this new schedule with 3 games, break, 3 games. But now the problem is that, at least for me, and my teammates have voiced the same concerns, is that we have a 2-hour break after 3 games where it's a break, but I'm not going at the pool, sipping a margarita, or like going on the couch, chilling and watching some show. I'm just sitting there playing solo queue. Okay. So that's not a break because I'm playing the game anyway.
Why wouldn't they do, like, I would have assumed, because I'm not behind the scenes on these things, so I don't know how it works, but I would have assumed, like, okay, you play 3 games, you do a little bit of review after each game, but maybe you have, like, an extended review, and then you have an hour-long break for, like, a meal, and then you get back into it. You know, like, a 2-hour break sounds like it's not, like, I would have assumed that break is break from scrims, not break from work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I think that's the idea. It's just that it doesn't feel like the break at the very, like, the people who put the break in place didn't have a really good plan about how the players were going to use it. So it's kind of like, you do what you want. Maybe there's food, maybe there's not. Like, you might have to eat snacks, otherwise you'll starve, kind of vibes. So I think it's up to the players to make use of it. I definitely, personally, I haven't found the best way to utilize it yet. Okay. But if you stick to the schedule, I'll have to find a way to make it work. But yeah, because the solo queue, I mean, it's kind of a break from scrims. You don't have to communicate, so it's like a little bit more chill, and then you can come back to scrims. But at the same time, is that really how I should be using my break? I'm not taking a break. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, because I know this is kind of a throwback to a previous scrim format that the league used to use, but back then you were also playing different teams. I've heard you play the same team both blocks now, right?
Yeah, we play the same team both blocks. I'm trying to remember if in 2019 we would scrim 2 different teams, because I think that's the last time we had 2 blocks. I'm pretty sure we would scrim the same team. So
maybe been 2018 or something. Like, I remember there were definitely times for a while where people were playing 2 teams a day. So do you think it's better to play 1 team, or do you think it would be better if they could navigate playing 2 different teams?
Well, I'd say if you get a good scrim partner, you want to scrim them both blocks. Yeah. So that's the thing, is like, especially if you have like a weekend where you play 2 strong teams, then you have a limited amount of partners that you realistically want to practice against, right? You always want to be scrimming against the strongest team possible, unless it's like a team that's way better than you, then you probably don't want to do that. But anyway, yeah, I could see it being valuable if you get to like experience different picks, different metas. Then it's worth to have that 2 block. But if it's the same team, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make too much sense to me.
All right, thank you for the deep dive into all of that. Is there anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there?
I wish I had, you know those things in Men in Black where they're like, and you just forget everything? Just to forget the last 2 games. And the split starts next weekend, and I hope you guys are going to be there for our debut.
Yeah, it's cool that they did like the show matches this weekend to get people ready for next weekend, the kickoff.
Yeah, Zoomer versus Boomer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thank you so much for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. LCS is back, baby, and so is TGI's coverage going into 2023. Of course, that coverage brought to you by Alienware, by the way. So if you appreciate the fact that the coverage is back, then you should go click the link in the description and head back to their site if you have been there before, trying to like link the fact that I said LCS is back and TGI is back. Anyway, go check out their stuff. There's a link in the description. We love Alienware. It's good to be back. I'm actually quite happy to be here. So thanks for watching. Subscribe.